when our Kansas insider Josh Klingler has to say he knows Wiggins' game just as well as anyone. And Josh, before the season, everybody thought Andrew Wiggins was going to be the #1 overall pick in the draft next year. Where would you have him among the freshman top 5 this year?
Well, he leaves you wanting more. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing this time of the year. I think I couldn't disagree with Jordan's list when you have Jabari Parker and Julius Randle. Probably have had more wow moments than Andrew Wiggins has this year. Yes, he is Kansas's leading scorer, but I think a lot of people would like to see maybe a little more consistency from him, maybe a little more wow in his game, and a little more of a take charge attitude at times.
Yeah, Josh, if I'm Coach Self and Ray, I think you're challenging him, and Wiggins I'm talking about here, to kind of get started as soon as the game tips off. This is a guy that gets better as the game goes on, and he really makes those big plays down the stretch in the second half. I'd like to see him get more involved from the start of the game. Now, look, Jabari Parker gets a lot more love and is probably having a better season because of the surrounding parts around him. He has more veterans surrounding him on that team, which allows him to ease his way into that role. When you talk about Wiggins, this guy has to do it a lot on his own, and a lot's been put on his shoulders fast, simply because there's so much youth on that roster.
Josh, you touched on some areas that they'd like to see some improvement in Andrew Wiggins, but where do you think he can get better, and where is he at his best right now?
I do agree with Jordan on the take charge kind of attitude from the get-go. His best game was a game against Florida in which Kansas found themselves down, and he was terrific in that game, especially in the second half of that game. People then are wanting to see, can he do it for the full 40 minutes? He scores so easily and kind of in bunches, but maybe kind of spreading out, being a little bit more consistent. And the youth has factored in, and maybe a little bit of a lack of a point guard as well to get them into their offense. Kansas has struggled a little bit offensively, shooting the basketball from the perimeter, getting into an offense with the point guard. Nadir Tharp was the starter to begin the season. He got benched for a little bit. They're having a little bit of an issue, I guess, right now getting into their offense, and I think Wiggins falls into that as well.
As I think about this, Josh, as we sit here and talk this thing through, I'm kind of wondering if Andrew Wiggins is actually the guy that should be on my list. On that team at Kansas, Joel Embiid may be the best freshman on that roster, and a lot of people are talking about him as a top 10 lottery pick. What do you think about him? What are the thoughts there?
Yeah, I can see why NBA general managers are probably licking their chops on this kid. He's so raw. He's barely played basketball. And yet he's a freakish athlete at 7 feet that does a lot of things where you just say, wow. He's had more wow moments than Andrew Wiggins has. Now, he's had some consistency issues as well, where he's had games he's been in a little bit of foul trouble. Maybe he hasn't scored a lot, but he's got those wow opportunities for NBA GMs for sure. And he's been a pleasant surprise. A kid they loved, thought could play really well. I don't think most of us that hadn't seen him play before thought he was going to be this good this soon, and is in the starting lineup now finally and deserves to be so.
Well, we're looking at all first-year players here, and sometimes the learning curve is just a little longer for some players than they are others. There's no question. All the 5 on your list, a lot of talented freshmen this year. All right, Josh, thanks very much. Happy holidays to you.
To you guys as well.
And Jordan, great job as always in the low post.
Thank you, brother.
Good job,
I appreciate it, my man. I do what I can.